as soon as we heard what was going on, I ran out there to try to scare him away. And the other one, you could make a little sound, she'd run away. This one, I went out there, he just stood up and looked at me. So I had to get pretty close to him before he took off. It was this one is not a pushover for sure.
So do you have any fear, Anderson, as you're approaching these bears? Do you look at them and you just make a big holler or what?
Well, I'll be honest. At this guy, he stood up. If he had to stand off with him for another second or two, my butthole would have started clenching up. There's no question about it.
What?
Yes, Marty. Johnny did say that right now. Good morning, Lotus Flower. Lotus.
First it was you with the Kit Kats yesterday. Now it's Johnny talking about clenching up. What's going on this week, man?
Oh, you're talking about me sucking on the Kit Kat? Hey, Mornings in the Lab, the only show for men. Marty, we had a chat.
I don't know. Is this for men? I don't know.
Hey, Johnny, we had a chat with producer Flynn yesterday. She's like, I think you're the morning show for men. Keith talks about sucking on the Kit Kat out of the womb. Johnny's talking about clenching buttholes with bears. Dudes,
what are we doing, man?
We got content for the ages coming out of here on the morning show. And hey, listen, if you're tuning in right now, I see you guys tuning in. I invite you to like the channel, subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends. Subscribe to Mornings in the Lab. We get out of bed for you guys every single day, Monday to Friday, 8 o'clock Eastern time. Our purpose, our mission, to help you boys get your shit in gear, to help you guys hit those next stages in life, to help you move forward. That's why I'm here. That's why Johnny's here. And that's why Marty's here. And today we're going to sit down with Brian and Inge. We're going to talk about, that side hustle, that entrepreneur gig, that moving from here to here and getting shit done along the way. Johnny, so yesterday you had International Bench Press Day. You had some guests in town as well as fighting off bears. How was the rest of your day yesterday, pal? It was Monday. We talked. A lot of people were struggling with Monday yesterday, and we got through the day. How was your day yesterday, buddy? Yeah.
Johnny, you there?
I think the bear got him, Marty. How was your day?
The bear might have got him. I had a great day, man. I did chest day too.
Yeah,
I'm back to 315 on the bench, so I'm
nice,
excited about that.
Whoa, you crushed in three. What do you got? You got a 1 rep max, or you got to do
one rep?
That's nice. Nice.
Trying to get to 2.
Hey, it all starts with 1, right? One goes.
Got to start with 1.
Two goes to 3. Yeah, Johnny, you there? Does the bear get you? So when John sat down with us, the internet was working fine, but I think the internet's on a little bit of a delay with Johnny this morning.
I'm here.
Yes.
We can hear you now, but it's going in and out.
It's going in and out like the In-N-Out Burger come up. Hey, Marty, you had In-N-Out Burger before?
In-N-Out? Yeah, of course.
Oh, yeah, it's good burgers.
It's a good burger. Yeah,
we shouldn't talk with John, though, because he might give a shit.
Yeah, he might yell at us.
Yeah.
Guys, that's not real food.
I can hear it. I can absolutely hear it from John Anderson. All right. So we're coming in at the 10-minute mark of the show here. I got some things I want to throw on the table here today, but I'm just going to try to see if Anderson's connection is going to figure itself out here. But Johnny, you there with us right now? Yeah. So Marty, are you a space guy? You like space?
I mean, I'm more of an ocean guy. I'm more fascinated by the ocean.
Okay, really? Eh? So the ocean kind of freaks me out.
Me too.
That's
why I'm fascinated by it.
This mass body of water, and you stick your leg in it, and you're like, okay, I had no idea what's underneath there, but I guess it's like space too. You kind of
and I'm so scared of the ocean, but I'll go and snorkel at like the scariest places. Like it's crazy.
So I think you and AJ Zeglin should hang out because AJ doesn't like the ocean either. AJ's like, I don't know what's underneath the water. So he's like, no, I'm not going to the ocean. So I think
I'll hop in the ocean though.
My two brothers from another mother, AJ and Marty, both the ocean freaks who don't like the ocean.
If he's not getting in the ocean, he's not going anywhere with me.
Here's why I bring it up though, Marty. So I want to talk about space. So we know that there is the space station up there. And we know that there's a bunch of space exploration happening. And producer Flynn, Melissa, I'm bringing it back to pillars. Don't worry. I'm not getting all nerdy on everybody here. I'm going to bring it back to where we got to get to.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. But listen,
Get him, Melissa.
we know that there's a space station up there, and there's a couple astronauts stranded up there. Did you know that, Marty?
I saw that. I did see that, actually.
Yeah. So there's a point to all this. So Boeing Starliner is Bezos' space company, sent some astronauts up there, but they're stuck up there. So now they're hanging out at the space station. To bring them back, they're talking to Elon's company, SpaceX, to bring them back, which you think is normal, right? Marty, it's like, hey, Keith, I'm stuck. Can I jump into your car, catch a ride home? So you think that's all normal. However, something that nobody was considering, and I read this yesterday, I'm fascinated by it, the spacesuits, Marty, that were worn up there by the Boeing group, the two astronauts, aren't compatible with the rocket ship that would bring them back down to Earth on the SpaceX side. So it would be like you having a USB-A charger and me having a USB-C port. You're like, Keith, it doesn't fit. I'm like, I know. So the point is that sometimes design decisions we make years ago, and producer Flynn, I'm going to pull you up here on stage quickly because I know you're a product person, but sometimes design decisions we make years ago that we think are the right decisions unequivocally come back to bite us in the ass in the future. Producer Flynn, you're listening to me talk about this. Isn't that a fascinating story where they're thinking about how do they get some spacesuits, these guys? How do they get the USB-A port to fit into the USB-C port so they can bring these human beings down to Earth? I thought it was quite fascinating because there's a business lesson in that, right? They made this big decision 20 some odd years ago, and it's coming back to bite them in the ass today. What's your comment on that, Flynn?
Yeah, I mean, product development is one thing when you're serving at the consumer level. Product development and hardware, when you're talking about navigating space, the amount of challenges and potential possibilities that you need to explore are kind of beyond most people's comprehension. I don't blame them for going up there and being like, well, we got to be prepared to have a number of different ports here in case we get stuck. But I would suspect that given the fact that these are probably the smartest people in the world that are navigating these challenges and the access that they have, I've got confidence they'll be able to figure it out. But yes, coming back to business, you do have to think of the swath of possibilities that might happen and you might experience with your product. It may not be as complicated as this, but you do have to consider them.
I just found it fascinating when I read it, man, and just as they summed up the article, which was, when Boeing made the decision, Christina, okay, this is the right one, never would they have considered in their mind that, okay, well, one day I'm going to have to put this USB-A cable in the USB-C port. How does it work? I think back to my days growing up, kids here, I'm going to call you both kids, when I was trying to figure out why the beta tape wasn't fitting in my VHS machine. I was like, come on, it's got to work. It's got to work. And it just wasn't working, right? So I found it fascinating that there's a human situation happening here, and it comes down to this simple, it's not compatible. How are we bringing them down? So do we fly a whole other spaceship up there with two suits to bring these people back? Like, you think about these challenges, right? It's not just sticking people in the car.
You just Uber, just say, yo, I need you to
Send a spaceship
bring one
Uber.
up here for me.
That's it.
So, hold on, real quick. Did you see there's private jet Ubers now?
I have. So yes, I have. I didn't know if they're on-demand air flights, right?
Yeah, that's crazy. Like 17 bands for that. 17,000.
There you go. Yeah, just sitting in my pocket.
These are the people that, like, the audience they're appealing to. They're like, I got to get rid of my jet. Like, I don't really need it that much anymore. It's a bit hectic to deal with all the different families. So, like, that's actually a real good solution for them. But that's a different world than y'all. And then
everybody's picking on you because of your carbon footprint stuff, right? It's like, oh, Christina's got a carbon footprint of X. She shouldn't be flying her airplane around. So you got folks like Jennifer Lopez, Lil Nas X sitting in regular economy seats on an airplane these days. It's like, oh, hey, there's that dude over there on the airplane.
Probably that's the consideration most of them are making. They're probably, you know what? We should do this because of our carbon footprint.
Yes. Yeah, there you go. Hey, we're hanging out with producer Flynn. We're going to bring Johnny up here on stage, see how his internet's going. Myself, see Marty Fit, John Anderson. The Mixer, thanks for joining us here this morning. Inspiration note for me, trust me and you'll go far, bro. Oh, yeah. Trust me and you'll go far, bro. Keep going and don't give up. Even when everybody knocks you down, get back and don't stop. This is true, Mixter. You are bang on with that one because somebody's going to knock you down on the way. That's a great message. Do you guys like my note? I love your note. But whose note I love the most is I love Kagi's note the most. Get a real job. Boom. Yes, Kagi, you get the note of the day. Get the real job note. I love you. Come to the lab every single day. One day when you wake up and go, hey, that guy looked like Phil Donahue. Yeah, I only bring that up because unfortunately we lost Phil Donahue yesterday. Phil Donahue invented Oprah. No, he didn't invent Oprah, but Phil Donahue started the massive talk show era across the United States, North America. And he paved the way for folks like Oprah, Geraldo Rivera, et cetera, et cetera. Phil died yesterday, 88 years old. So Nation, one day you're going to think to me, hey, there's that guy that started that talk show on LinkedIn and X, and he's looking like Phil Donahue. Yeah, that's true. So there you go, Kagi. You come join us in a few years from now, you'll recognize it. Oh, yeah, there's that guy today. And
so
then
you look like Mark Wahlberg and Phil Donahue?
Exactly, Marty. Yes, I'm a cross between Mark Wahlberg and Phil Donahue. That's it. Mongol TV, what are we talking about today? We are talking about the Side Hustles Entrepreneur Guide to Success with Brian Inge. He's the ultimate multi-hyphenate project manager, entrepreneur, mentor, and sports industry powerhouse. Joining us here in a few moments. Going to bring him here after the accountability check-in. And of course, we got Johnny Anderson there. We're testing the internet connection. Marty, what was the question we asked John 3 days ago? And
does he squat bears?
He's still figuring out the answer.
Something about the bear.
Too long to get to him.
I don't even remember what he was talking about.
Yes, we were. Yes, we were. And, yes. And were you going to fight it? And how close did you get to the whole situation?
Don't get me wrong. I have no interest in fighting a bear. You know, I mean, do I feel manly when I make some noise and it runs away? Hell yes. But I have, you know,
you're wrecking my complete impression of you, man. Don't knock yourself down. Because in my eyes, and I know Marty's, we think you're like Superman who can beat bears. So don't tell us differently, man.
Well, I guess it all just depends on how I tell the story. I could be honest, or I could be, I could.
There
really
you go. There you go. We got Mike McQuinlan joining us here. What's up, Mike? Fit presenter. My LinkedIn post yesterday was about why athletes disqualify themselves from getting a real job. And then kudos for pronouncing unequivocally correctly without a letter B. Yes, thanks, Mike. I certainly try to use my eloquent words properly here with unequivocally.
So what is that? Unequivocally? Is that what he's saying? Who says that?
I think it's a Peru thing. I think we might have to bring. Hey,
I haven't heard that one.
Hey, Tina, Mike McQuinlan's been on the show a few times. He's a guest of the show. He's a fan of the show. Me and Marty are fans of Quinlan. We'll bring him on one day. We should bring him on with Matt Freed and do a roundtable. The guy may have lifted a couple weights in his lifetime and put him down. Hey, Marty? Oh, yeah. He has a good story. I think he does. So, hey, it's this time. Jimmy, we're going to do this right now. Oh, no, not that one there. We're going to do, this one here. John's going to go figure out the internet connection. I'm going to pull Marty off stage. We're going to bring Brian up. Break. Yeah, we're going to bring Brian up in a couple minutes. Boom, boom. Hey, could you imagine looking back one day and realizing you wasted your whole life? Could you imagine? Man? Could you just imagine sitting there going, oh my God, I've wasted my whole life? When you're not intentional with your time, that's what's going to happen. You're going to waste your life. Because we all have the same 24 hours, gentlemen. We all got the same clock. We all do. No one gets more time. No one gets less time. Some folks are able to squeak out, 25 hours in a 24-hour day, and they see themselves going backwards. But the difference is how we use our time, determining who wins and who doesn't win. Because you know what, Business Athlete Nation, you're laying there in bed right now questioning what you're going to do next. You want to hit the snooze button? I'll tell you, excuses you have in your head, they're easy. You're like, I don't need to do this today. I have an excuse. I have an idea for you. Those excuses, they're not going to get you anywhere. So the results aren't going to get you anywhere. But those who win in life, nation, those that don't make excuses, they make the decisions. You have that responsibility as you're laying here right now, getting going, to make the most of your life. Stop wasting it on things that don't matter. I'm telling you, look at your list of things to do and wipe out 99% of them. Take that list and say, and pick one thing and get it done today. Start investing your time in what matters most. That's what I invite you here to do today, because time doesn't wait. I'm telling you, time doesn't wait. We're coming up to the end of August. And Business Athlete Nation, gentlemen around there getting up, listening to the only morning show on the planet made for you, get up, because time doesn't wait for you, and neither should you. And that's your accountability check, and dropping every single day around this time every single morning. Kagi? Yeah, I'm not broke. I'm far from broke. Google my name. I invite you. All right. We're going to bring up John, Marty, Brian, myself. Jimmy, you bring him up on the horizontal feed, my friend. Let's bring in Brian Inge, who joins us from... Brian, where are you joining us from today, pal? Nice. Congrats. Thank you for joining us, Brian Inge. Brian joins us from the DMV area. Brian's the epitome of the side hustle entrepreneur. 8 hours of deep diving into financial systems, project management, juggling a full-time role while driving his own ventures and side hustle. The guy does not sit around. I'm thinking like many of you in our audience right now. Brian's not just a business leader, Marty, as you've told me. He's also a mentor, unofficial big brother to our very own Marty Fit, showing that true leadership extends beyond the boardroom into personal connections and impact. And then the second hour here, Brian, we're going to give Brian the mic and to sit down and question our good brother Marty Fit here. Whether it's guiding clients, mentoring young people, or making waves in sports, Brian is all about getting things done and doing them well. And today we are more than excited to bring on Brian Inge into the lab. There he is.
Hey, Brian, you got to unmute yourself on the vertical.
There we go.
On your iPhone, I think.
Yeah, we're figuring out the whole situation here. Yeah, Brian has the one on YouTube. We hear you, nation. We're gonna get that sorted out. We got two things running here. We got an iPad and iPhone running with Brian and Lotus. I hear you. Thank you for tuning in and giving us the guidance. We are going to get that sorted out as we get the show running here. So, how's that, Brian? Yeah.
We can hear you. It's just on the we hear you on the horizontal, not the vertical.
Hey nation, if you're tuning in right now, I invite you to check out Mornings in the Lab. Go head on over to the Mornings in the Lab channel, YouTube Mornings in the Lab. You'll get the vertical stream over there, and I invite you into that channel over there to get the full stream here. We got Brian over on both streams. Marty, John, while Brian's sorting that out, we did a poll yesterday, and the poll was, how do you feel about Mondays? And the responses we put up there was excited to start fresh, just another work day, surviving till Tuesday, and dreaded every single day of the week. Johnny, what do you think? What was the consensus, do you think, with people with the poll last night? And Marty, what was the poll yesterday? People were excited to go, just another work day, surviving till Tuesday, or dreading every single day of the week? What do you think people were talking about? Marty.
Say the four again.
Yeah. Were folks in yesterday's poll, were they excited to start fresh? Were they just another work day? Could they not wait to get till Tuesday? or were they dreading every single day of the week? What do you think the consensus was yesterday, the poll yesterday?
Honestly, man, dreading every single day of the week.
You know what, Marty? Overwhelmingly, people were excited to start fresh.
Oh, okay.
That's encouraging to me, right? Folks like, yes. Johnny, what do you think of that too? Can we hear you, John? Folks were eager to get going. Good morning, good time. Good to see you here this morning. Good to see you here. How was your lift yesterday? Good time. I know you headed off to the gym yesterday, I think it was. How was your lift yesterday? But I was excited to see those results, that folks were ready to rock and roll, Marty. And, folks aren't that lazy, which is nice. And then Lotus, just another manic Monday. Yes. Lotus, I was thinking about starting the show yesterday with that. I was trying to find some bangles. Is that the bangles, Lotus? Just another manic Monday. I think so. Flynn,
I don't know about that one.
So but Christina just, isn't that what it was, Christina?
Thank you, Christina.
So Nation, I give Christina has full controls to the show here. So I saw her in the back room there as I was singing, and she was expressing herself in a very willing way. So I'm thinking, hey, maybe she wants to join me singing, Christina.
You know what? Let's save the duets for another time. I think we got Brian ready to go in the back. We're gonna get into the conversation. Let's do it.
Good morning, So Young Park. Good to have you here this morning.
What's up, So Young?
Good to see you, So Young. Always love having you here in the lab, and of course, we love no love for the Boomtown. Oh, the Boomtown Rats. That's an old. Music always is the soundtrack to life. That's a good one, presenter. I like that. And Lotus, thank you for confirmation. Lotus, if you want to do a duet one day, I'd love to have you on the show, to the chagrin of Marty and Christina. But yes, Lotus, we will do a show one day together. We'll sing some songs for Nation. So all right, Brian Inge is on the show here. Brian, can we got you here, pal?
I think so. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can. Loud and clear. Hey, so Brian, we did the poll yesterday, and the question for the audience was, how do you feel about Mondays? And we gave everybody the answer, which was excited to start fresh, just another work day, surviving till Tuesday, or dreaded every single day of the week. I don't know if you heard the responses, but people were overwhelmingly excited to start the week. Does that surprise you, Brian?
Yes and no. Yes, because I tend to think that a lot of people aren't really willing to get things done. Mondays are tough for some people, but I can see that because I thoroughly love getting my week started. I get anxiety Sunday evening because I'm so ready to get the week started. Then once the week started, I can calm down because there's always something to do.
Oh, did you say that you have anxiety on Sundays because you're so eager to get started, instead of the opposite, which in my experience, and I know I talk with Marty and John often, is that people are anxious about Mondays because they're scared to get Mondays started? Am I hearing the opposite of you, Brian?
Absolutely. I love to get my Monday started, just like most people. And I would much rather be sitting on the beach, but that's not the way life is set up. So the faster I can get things started, the faster I can get things done, the faster I can get on to more important things, the faster I can get back to prioritizing the things that are most important, which is like my friends, family, things like that. So,
Marty, that's impressive.
Yeah, definitely impressive. I wish we could sit on the beach every day,
exactly.
Every Monday. I wish, but like you said, it's not set up like that. But I feel refreshed on Mondays too. But you got to think too, Keith. The audience that's answering the questions isn't most of the world.
This is true. Yes,
it's not NPCs in the poll.
There you go. But I find it fascinating though, that Brian's anxiety, because I got to be honest, I never really considered that Brian's anxiety comes from, I want to go tackle Monday. It's like he can't get to bed fast enough on a Sunday to get to Monday. It's like, I got to go, man. I got to rock and roll is what he's saying.
Yeah, I got stuff to do. And Chris knows. I mean, my life is very, very busy. I'm always doing something. Something's always going on. So I hate just sitting back waiting for something to happen when I can just attack it.
Yeah, no kidding. That's exceptional. So we're going to get into a big chat here coming up with the Side Hustle Entrepreneur's Guide to Success. Brian is active and he's a project manager, entrepreneur, mentor, sports industry powerhouse. Brian, how do you introduce yourself to the world? What are you first? You father? You a mentor, entrepreneur? Let's talk about the family. Like, talk about where do you stand up and hold your hand up high?
I consider myself like the jack of all trades. I'm definitely a husband, a son, hoping soon to be a father. But more importantly, I like to consider myself a good person, someone who enjoys giving back and doing the right things. And because of that, some great things have been able to occur in my life.
That's awesome. And now you've spent 8 years of deep diving into financial systems and project management. While
13 now. I need to update that.
How much?
About 13 years.
Oh, wow. So you've been pretty active for a while, plus juggling full-time role while driving own ventures and side hustles. And we're going to get into that in a few moments. Marty, you're going to jump on the fit tip here in a second. But Marty, how did you and Brian meet originally, Marty, the first moment you guys met? I know you told me and producer Flynn yesterday, you guys known each other for what, 20 years or so. So how did you guys first meet?
Through a trainer, basketball trainer. I guess when Brian was in college, I was in going to college. I was in middle school, so we had the same basketball trainer.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I was speaking up on him.
Yeah. How old was Marty when you met him, Brian?
I had to be 7th or 8th grade. Chris was really, really good, great scorer. And, the way our trainer used to set it up, if you were one of the older players, you had the right to pass that knowledge and came back on to one of the younger players who had a lot of potential. And Chris was one of those guys who had a ton of potential. So my job was just to beat him up, make it difficult on him without killing him, and see if he can survive.
I love that. So Brian, do you know Chris as C. Marty Fit, or do you lean into the Christopher Martin side of C. Marty Fit?
I call him Chris. Everybody's gonna call him C. Marty, and
yeah.
C. Marty, I call him Chris.
Yeah, I call him everything, Brian. So he's Marty to me. He's C. Marty to me. He's Fit. He's Christopher. He's Chris. But what we do know, we learned last week, Brian, he's not Chris E.
Definitely not Chrissy.
That's not. Yeah,
I don't know
where you got that. I don't know where you got that from.
Well, it was on one of our sound bites last week when Anderson was calling. We were talking nicknames, and all of a sudden there was Chrissy up there, and Marty's like, "No, there's no fucking way I'm Chrissy. That's not. Yeah. No, I'm not Chrissy." Is what Marty was responding.
Yeah, you're not gonna get a response from me at all.
That's exactly what you said last week. Nope, no response from Christopher Martin with that.
Nope. He's wild. Chris is wild.
Exactly. All right, let's do this. Let's jump into the C. Marty Fit tip, Jimmy, and then when we come back, we're going to dig into the main topic: the side hustles entrepreneur's guide to success. I really want to lean in with Marty and talk to Brian about how he does it. Marty, you told me yesterday Brian's like Superman. He's like doing all this shit, and he's got the side hustle, and and I know in our experience, folks struggle with doing two things. And clearly, Brian has had success doing multiple things along the way. So let's get into that conversation in about 2 minutes. But before we do that, Marty, let's get you going on with with this right here.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right. We got the fitness tip for today. Let's get into it. When you're chasing big goals and juggling life's responsibilities, your mindset is everything. Making time for fitness matters even if you're busy. Here's how to stay on track. Make fitness non-negotiable. Just like showing up for work or family, you need to show up for your fitness every day. Consistency is key, even on busy days. Move your body daily to keep your mind sharp and your energy high. Stay flexible with the process. Life changes, and so will your plans. Don't stress about following the perfect routine. Adapt as needed, but keep pushing forward. The key is to stay consistent no matter what. Focus on compound exercises. If you're short on time, compound exercises like squats, deadlifts, and bench presses are your best bet. They work multiple muscle groups at once, saving time and building strength. Fitness isn't just about looks, it's about mental clarity, stress relief, and setting yourself up for success in all areas of life. Show up, stay flexible, and make your workouts count. That's the fitness tip for today.
There it is, the fitness tip of the day, brought to you by your sponsor, Keith's Coffee. Oh, what does that mean? That means we're looking for sponsors for the fit tip. You want to get behind Marty, and you want to get behind what he has to say every single day. We get up every single day, man, to help you guys get started. Yeah, you, man. You're probably between the ages of 25 and 54. You're working on getting your shit together, and you're thinking, I kind of like this Marty guy. Oh, I kind of like this Bilous guy. I think I might like John Anderson. Well, listen, every single day at the bottom of the hour, we got a fit tip. It's something to put in your head to get you moving throughout your day today. And we're looking for folks to be a part of that with us here. So, all right, we're going to get into the main topic of the show here today, which is the reality of balancing a full-time job and a side hustle. And I appreciate your strong arms are a good time. Thanks for that. But we're going to get into the reality of balancing a full-time job and a side hustle with Brian Inge. And Brian, I got to tell you, man, when Marty said he wanted to have you on the show and we started talking about topics, and he told me about everything that you do, I said to myself, how does this guy manage his time effectively between a demanding full-time job and a side hustle? Because there's people tuning in right now, Brian, that can't figure that out. Let's get into it. How do you do it? What motivates you? What allows you to carry all those pillars and move forward, Brian Inge?
That's a great question. And I don't think anyone's ever really asked me that. I think it really comes from growing up, having a goal. Like most kids, Chris probably had the same goal. I wanted to play in the NBA, and I realized that I had to work really, really hard to do so. So as of course, with that, academics was definitely stressed in my household. My mom, dad, they were on me about that. So I was through just time from being ingrained in me from my parents, but also my own ambitions. That work ethic kind of just grew and grew. So by the time I got out of college and I had the opportunity to play professionally, chose to go another way, I knew I wanted to do something. I knew I wanted to be more. So I always challenged myself, well, what can you do? What do I want to do next? Because I know I can do anything I put my mind to. Because I wasn't a super great player. I played with some great players in high school, but I made myself into a really, really good player. So I was like, all right, if I can do that, then I can do anything else if I just work hard enough and I want it bad enough. And I use that mantra through every phase of my life, whether it's coaching or mentoring or putting on showcase events or putting on business seminars. I just kind of kept that same mantra. If I work hard enough and if I don't know the answer and just seek the answer, I'll figure it out. And it's worked for me time and time again. That's
exceptional. Fit presenter, jump here. Marty, my greatest side hustle was graduate school. Good job there, Fit presenter. Good for you on that one. And Messi, how are we doing today? Thanks for jumping into the show here today, Messi. I invite you to subscribe to our channel, Mornings in the Lab. Hit the subscribe button, comment, like, share it with your friends. We get out of bed to help you guys go in here this morning. So Messi, thanks for jumping into the conversation this morning. We're talking Brian Inge. We're talking Side Hustle Entrepreneur's Guide to Success. Brian, how do you prioritize tasks? When every role you have on your list is like, that's the most important one. How do you decide what to do?
I have several calendars, but they all integrate to like a master calendar. So I use that to kind of stay on task. In the morning, the first thing I do, and I have to give credit to C. Marty. Actually, I do call him C. Marty sometimes, I start my day with the workout, whether that's me getting a full lift in, cardio, something in between. I start with some type of workout. And that kind of started when I began working with C. Marty. I was his first client. I don't know if he told you, I was his first client. So, I moved away. I'm not able to work out with him every day, but that kind of started my fitness journey. But back to your question, I keep calendars, I keep reminders, and throughout the day, I'm always kind of have check-ins with myself. So I have a 9 a.m. check-in, then I have a noon, then I have a 3, and then that 6 is when I kind of shut things down.
Check in with yourself. Did I hear you correctly?
Yep.
Define that to us. What does that mean to you when you say, because I'm going to bring in John. Hopefully John can hear this, because I know he's a habit stacker, and John's all about, moments in time to keep getting through. So when you say checking in with yourself, Brian, what does that mean to you?
Just recalibrating my calendars. So having to juggle like a full-time job, which is very demanding, but also 2 or 3 different side ventures. Things pop up, meetings pop on my calendar, things happen. So at 9 o'clock, I have my initial plan. And at 12 p.m., I kind of recalibrate, see what's happened. If anything else has popped on my calendar, do I need to kind of move things around, things like that. That same thing at 3 p.m. And at 6 is kind of like, all right, shutting down, getting ready for the next day. Sometimes I have to do some work in the evenings, if it's an event week or if I have a project or something that I'm planning coming up. But for the most part, I use that 6 p.m. to kind of decompress, look over I've been doing, and kind of just, get ready for the next day.
Wow. Marty.
Yeah. And talk more about what you do as far as the side hustle, but, talk more about what you do with the basketball side, because it's pretty fascinating how you do that with the regular job too. Most people are burnt out from their 9 to 5 during the week, but your weekends consist of basketball. So talk about that a little bit.
No, absolutely. So I guess what I can say about myself is right now I'm pretty much running my own sports marketing consulting firm. So I have several clients that I support, but I started out just coaching, training. I used to train Chris, and then it kind of grew from there. What I do now is I run high-level AAU showcase events with helping a lot of high school students get seen by different colleges, universities. I also consult with Lethal Shooter. He's one of my clients. I pretty much run his whole basketball brand and business from the operations side. So recently we had an event called the Locked In Elite Showcase, which was the third iteration of it, where we got the probably top 50 or 60 players in between Baltimore and maybe Richmond coming all together to compete. The event was sponsored by Nike and Jordan brand. I also am doing some things with Nike now. I just came back from Beaverton this past week, spent a week out there working with the Nike personnel, a lot of NBA's coaches and GMs. They were out there evaluating a lot of the top high school and college players in the world. So those are some of the many things I do, but I also can put on like sports and business events. Chris has been to several of them. The last one I did was at Bowie State University. I'm also doing stuff with Howard University. So, and on the side, I still try to mentor, not as many kids as I used to, but every year I try to find 3 to 5 kids that I can kind of lock in with and help them in any way, shape or form, help be an asset to them so they can better their lives as well.
Yeah. Johnny, can you hear the conversation, John?
Yes, I can finally.
Awesome. Good. Did you want to chime in here, John, with a question? Or are you good right now? Just are you got a question for Brian?
No, I would. I mean, first off, I just want to say that I love, the fact that you're doing so much. And I think one of the things that people need to realize is that he's able to do so much and continue to do it because he loves what he's doing. It's around basketball, and when you're doing what you love, you can do a lot more of it. And I think people need to understand that.
Yeah, that's well said, John. And John, I want to look at you for a second, John. Brian talks about checking in, and I know you're a big habit stacker, and you check in throughout your day. You're like, I got to get up, and you remind yourself a minute later to make sure you're going on with things. Lean into Brian's comments about and teach our audience on checking in throughout the day. And when you heard Brian say that, what thoughts come to your mind for you, John? When he's like, yeah, I check in throughout my day constantly, 6 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock. I'm always checking in with myself. John Anderson.
Well, it's so powerful. My first check-in with myself is when I literally at 4 a.m. and I get myself in that mental space I want to be in. And as I move through my day, it's easy to kind of get taken off path. So ultimately, about every 3 hours, I've got myself. This is something that just happens by myself now. I'm able to look at what I'm doing and see, okay, did I make it? Did I stay on course or did I veer off? And what I'm talking about is my mind. Yeah. Because if my mind is on track, the stuff I'm doing is it's going to happen as a positive side effect. So my check-ins are all about, am I still in an abundant mindset, or something scared me and put me in a scarcity mindset? Am I still seeing opportunities, or somehow did I start to see the problems? So it's all here. My check-ins are all about my mental position.
And Brian, that's the impression I get from you too, man. When you got busy calendars, busy schedules, I'm getting the sense from you that it's really more about making sure your mind is set to get to that next hour, the next stage of your day. Am I correct, Brian?
No, absolutely. And John is totally correct. And just like checking in, locking in mentally, because when you're doing so much, you've got a lot of things going on, and not just in your professional life, but in your personal life as well. It's huge to really to be able to kind of put yourself in a place mentally where you can get things done, and you're able to kind of focus on the things that need to be focused on, while also having real life things going on. Because everyone in this world is a human being, and they have a million things going on outside of just what they want to do or what their passion is. So having that ability to kind of level set with yourself mentally, to put a plan in place, to kind of be your own hall monitor per se is absolutely something that I try to do as well.
Hey, you're hanging out with Keith Bilous, C. Marty Fit, John Anderson, and our guest, Brian Inge. Mornings in the Lab, the only morning show for men. We help you guys get your ass out of bed every single day to help you guys point yourself in the right direction. Today, we're talking about the Side Hustles Entrepreneur's Guide to Success. Brian not only has a full-time gig, Brian has a number of other ventures on the go, and we're talking about how he manages that to keep himself pointed in the right direction. Brian, talk about the importance of setting boundaries to avoid burnout. And I'm wondering if those boundaries are linked to your check-ins, which is, okay, check-in, mental check, am I burning out, am I focused? Talk about boundaries and how they help you avoid burnout. Brian Inge.
That's something I'm still consistently working on, and I have to give my wife credit for that, for making me see that, like, no, you need to cut some of this stuff off at some time. If it was up to me, I would just go and leave myself available to any and everyone. But that is just not possible, because you do get burnt out, you do get tired, and mental health awareness. You can have anxiety, stressors, depressors, just by taking on so many different things. So what I try to do is, I try to shut everything off by 6 p.m. Doesn't always happen, but I try to at least shut down by 6 p.m. and make myself available to my family. Outside of that, and Chris knows this, when you're in the business of serving others, others always want you to serve them. So I've tried to, I'm still getting better at this. I have an example that I can't share on air, but I'll text you, Marty, afterwards, of people, wanting more from me than I should be giving them. And at times, it's not just me respecting a boundary, it's also trying to enforce a lesson on others that, no, you have to work for it. I can't just give you something because you're uncomfortable. And it's okay to be uncomfortable, because if you're uncomfortable, then you should be willing to figure something out. But that's just one boundary, just making myself not so accessible to people. Another one is being true to myself and doing other things outside of just my work and business profession. Like I said, I work out often. I try to take trips. I try to travel. I try to spend a lot of time with friends and family. So those are the things I do to try to keep boundaries around myself.
Brian, you mentioned your wife. And I know that, so I'm married, Johnny's married, and we talk about the power of the support of our significant other, right? And we're talking here to men around the planet who we help get their days started. Brian, talk about how your wife helps you enforce the boundaries and how she helps you make sure that you guys stay committed to your relationship as well. Because I'm going to make an assumption, Brian, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm not, but I'm going to make an assumption that if you're off with your relationship with your wife or with your family, you're certainly not on when it comes to business. Am I correct?
Oh, absolutely. It throws everything off. It throws every single thing off.
Yes.
Yeah. Like my wife, she pretty much had to tell me, like, no, you need to cut some of this stuff out because I'm not happy. So, all right, well, can't win that battle. So some things had to cut back, some things had to change. And she was right. She was absolutely right. After I kind of put some safeguards in place and gave some other responsibilities to others that worked under me, things became a little bit easier for me. And I was like, you know what, she's right. But to your statement, the wife kind of like holds your heart in their hands. And like when things aren't happy at home, it's hard to be the best version of yourself, to create magic. And that's what I call it. Like when my wife and I are good, I'm able to create magic.
That's exceptional. Marty.
Absolutely. And just going to switch gears a little bit because John has a famous phrase that he says on the show. John, can you say the phrase real quickly for Brian? I have a question around your phrase.
Which one are you talking about? That's the question.
Talking smack.
Oh, yeah. If they're talking smack, you're on the right track. He understands this clearly. People that have done great things understand that right away. People that don't, they're like, what's he talking about?
So Brian, with hearing that, I know you deal with some controversy and your basketball endeavors. If you want to speak on that, or maybe not specifically, but just talk about how when you elevate, you're going to have to deal with haters and people spitting out untruthful things about you. If you just want to speak on that and maybe provide an example if you want to. You don't have to say names, but that's on you.
You funny. Absolutely.
I don't expect you to say names. I'm joking.
I was really what I was wanting to say is like which one, but no, like just Chris is right. When you're doing anything really, really good, or you're stepping out of the norm that from what people know you as, you get a lot of naysayers, a lot of doubters, a lot of people who you thought were with you who really aren't with you. And maybe they are with you, they just don't believe in who you see yourself, who you want to be. So I've had several experiences coming up where I've had people close to me talk bad about me behind my back. And smile right in my face. I didn't know. I've had people kind of try to take food off my plate, take money out of my pockets, have taken money out of my pockets. I've had people lie on me to people in positions of power that could have really helped me. But through all of this, I mean, I feel like anyone who is successful deals with some type of this alienation. For me, it kind of drove me to work even harder and to lynch on to the people that are really closest to me, that really have my best interests at heart, who don't care about Brian Inge, the businessman or the entrepreneur or whatever, but they really care about Brian Inge, the person. And when all of these things have happened throughout my life, it's kind of brought me closer to the people that I need to be closer to, and it's allowed me to again maintain that focus and be laser sharp on the things that are very, very important. But one instance, I will give you one instance. I've never actually talked about this on camera, and I won't go into too much detail. But no, it's centered around a certain NBA player that I've dealt with, and a certain trainer that Chris and I both, work under, who I still love dearly. But just things were said about me because of, to be perfectly honest with you, I really don't know why, but things were said about me that I wasn't a good person. I wasn't as good as I thought I was. I'll never be what I am today, and I'm just wasting my time. And I wish I never knew this person. And this came from this NBA player's mother.
Dude,
so,
that's crazy, man.
Yeah, but fast forward, I'm working with Nike. I have my own business. I mentor tons of kids. I've changed countless lives. My resume is extensive, as Chris knows. I've done so many things that I kind of forget some of the things that I've done in the past. But that's one example that kind of like really jaded me, but it also kind of helped me grow as a person.
Yeah, we're hanging out with Brian Inge, who is joining us from the DMV area here this morning. Mornings in the lab. We're going to get into the creator spotlight in about 5-6 minutes or so. But Brian, talk about translating skills from your primary job that pays the bills. What you do for most of the day. Talk about those skills from the primary job into the side hustle, into the entrepreneurial venture. And somebody who's listening right now going, I never thought about it that way, that I can use the skills that I do for work, project management, whatever I'm doing, and take these skills and do them over there. Can we talk a little bit about that, Brian?
No, absolutely. And I'm glad you said this. A lot of people think that you can just, I just want to be an entrepreneur, or I just want to jump out there and do whatever my heart leads me to do. But I say one of the best things that happened to me was that I put the basketball down and I went back to school, got my master's degree, and I had several internships at the same time while I was still pursuing my basketball passion, growing my own business. So with my current job, throughout the years, I've acquired a lot of project management and leadership skills, which have worked well for me as I've continued to grow my business. So now early on, when it was just me and I was just a sole proprietor and I was kind of just doing everything on my own, I necessarily didn't see how these skills were translating. Some were, of course, like the people skills, things like that. But as far as like managing different tasks, managing budgets, managing schedules, I necessarily wasn't doing that then. But as I continued to grow and my business continued to grow, I started to realize how like I was able to kind of mitigate risks very fast. I would see things that could go wrong before they happen and put a plan in place so that they wouldn't go wrong. I knew how to manage large staffs when it came to my events because I was already doing that in my professional career.
Oh yeah.
I've been able to kind of leverage relationships I've been able to leverage relationships better. So in the corporate world, a like anything, it's a different beast. You gotta know the lay of the land. You have to put your best foot forward. You have to be professional. You have to make a good impression on higher ups who are really decision makers, and that has led me well in my entrepreneurial career, meeting the right people, knowing how to network properly, how to follow up on a lead and make things work for myself, to benefit myself. So all those things kind of helped were translated over from my professional career. And I'm not, be perfectly honest with you, I'm not sure if I would be as successful as I am now with my business if I didn't have the challenges that I had with my professional career early on.
It's funny because I was hoping you'd say that. I think that's something that's lost upon people often, right? Which is, okay, I got this job, I'm going to go do that side hustle. And then Marty, it has nothing to do with what they've learned in their job. And what Brian is saying is that, no, I've taken everything I'm learning over here and I'm applying it over there. And I think that's a great lesson. And something John said, and John, I'm going to speak on your behalf because I know we have a little bit of an internet connection with you, but John, you talked about why. You talked about purpose. And then you said that is, if you find something you're doing and you're loving it, it's not really a job. You're going to go at it. But Brian, identifying whether your side hustle is a passion project, a financial necessity, or a stepping stone to something bigger is a question that many men right now listening to this show are asking themselves.
Okay.
How did you arrive at your decision? Was it passion? Was it just a necessity? Or were you sitting down looking in your mirror going, no, this is something that I'm going to work towards, which is going to be something much, much bigger? Because that comes back to what John said, which is your why, which when you look at your day, you're like, oh yeah, I'm just doing my stuff. It's not stressful to you. So how do you know what your why is for producing your side hustle? Brian, Inge.
No, absolutely. The first thing was I just coming out of college, I wanted to be involved with the game of basketball. I wanted that to be my career. So that was my passion. That was my initial why. Now, after college, you don't have a lot of money. And like I told you, I was I had 2 internships, one paid, one did not. And I was trying to put myself through grad school. So there, the financial piece came in, like, okay, I need to use this money I'm making on the side to pay for school. And then after a while, it came to fruition that I was like, you know what, this isn't all I want to do. It was a stepping stone to something else. So I realized early on that I wanted more for myself. Even when I was just in the gym, we would see Marty training him and some other guys. I realized then that I needed more. So I always tried to put plans in place, and I leaned on like my professional career. So as I started to develop more on the professional side, things started to open up in my brain on the entrepreneurial side. So I didn't necessarily know where I was going early on in my entrepreneurial career, but I knew I wanted to be somewhere, and I knew if I worked hard enough and figured it out, I would get there. So everything has been pretty much a stepping stone until now. Like I tell Chris and I tell a lot of people, I've been doing this for 15 years now. So the first, 5 to 8 years, I was kind of bubbling. Things were kind of like slowly growing to 10. A little bit higher than the last 2 or 3 years. Things have just been like a rocket ship. So I just kind of like take it with a grain of salt and just know that it did start with a passion, and then it led to like a financial need for me. But it was also, I always wanted to do the right thing by people. But as far as my business and how everything's growing, it's all been a stepping stone. Like I have long-term goals that I intend to meet. I've met a lot of them. I've been able to conquer probably, if I was to estimate, 90, 92, 95% of my goals. So the question that I ask myself now is like, maybe I was thinking too small back then. So maybe I need to think bigger now.
Yes. I'm sure John would lean in on that one, because if you're set, as John would say, if we understand your goal, you haven't set your goal high enough, is how Anderson would articulate it to us. Hey, Johnny?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a different mindset, and when people really get what they're doing, we were going back to, we're talking about people talking smack. If you're worried about people that are talking smack, you're not committed enough to what you're doing. Because what you're doing should be far more important than the people talking. What do you think, Brian?
No, absolutely. I mean, if you're listening to the sidelines, then how can you concentrate on the game, right?
Bam. That's good. That's good. I'm going to steal that one if you don't mind, brother. That's a good one.
So, Brian, I would invite you to tune into the show in a couple weeks because you're going to hear Anderson spilling that one every couple of shows, man.
I'll have to copyright that one.
We're talking how to pivot your side hustle strategy with Brian Inge. Over from your side hustle to your entrepreneurship journey. Here's how the show is going to work for the next 30 minutes. We're going to wrap up with one more question with Brian here. We're going to do the creator spotlight, and then John and myself are going to quietly move off stage. And Brian and Marty are going to have a little one-on-one, and then we're going to come back and wrap up the discussion about the Side Hustle's Entrepreneur's Guide to Success. So, John, you got a question for Brian before we get over to the creator spotlight and we flip it over to Brian and see Marty? Johnny.
Yeah, what I would say, brother, what I would love for you to do is give our listeners, those listeners that are, they're ready to take that step to start investing their time and their energy in their side hustle. What would you think? What's the first step? What would your advice be to the listeners that are ready to go? What's their first step?
Yeah.
I would say the first thing is to have like a passion something that you really love to do. And once you figure out what that is, just start doing it. Just find a way to monetize it, even if it's underwater basket weaving. Find a basket, weave it, find somebody who likes it, and try to sell it to them. It probably won't work, but from that experience, you'll figure out something else, and then you try that. That may work. Then you'll find something about that could have been done better. And that's kind of how I've done things. I started out, I didn't necessarily have business plans. I kind of just knew I wanted to do something. And it was just trial by fire. And then after I kind of got through that, then I could start incorporating plans and risk strategies and things like that. I'm way better with all that now. But to get started, just like Nike says, just do it, and you'll figure it out.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. All right, so here's what we're going to do, Nation. We're going to do the creator spotlight here in less than a minute, Jimmy. We're going to flip over the script to Brian and Marty to have a little one-on-one. We want Business Athlete Nation to get to know Marty Fit through the lens of Brian Inge. So I said to Brian before the show, hey, would you mind taking over the microphone and putting our boy Marty on the spot and asking some stuff of Marty? We've all gotten to know Marty over the last number of months, hanging out with Marty here on the show, but Brian knows Marty than all of us, so I thought it'd be a good chance for us to get to know Marty.
You want to know what's crazy?
What's that?
Brian was supposed to come on my podcast. He got on Keith's show before my show. That's crazy.
You're right.
And then we're going to come back and we're going to wrap it up with the contrarian side of this. Is the side hustle culture overrated? So I would invite you guys to do this. Marty, we are going to turn the lights over to shine the light, which we like to do, on somebody who you said to me, like Bilous. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I got somebody who got to put on the creator spotlight. I'm like, okay. And you told me about this guy. We looked him up yesterday, and I'm like, oh, yeah, that dude belongs on stage. Johnny, you're going to like this guy, too, I can tell you right now. Brian, you're going to like this guy, too. Marty, does Brian know this person?
Nah.
No? All right. So we're going to take the light, and then, Marty, you're not going anywhere, pal. We're going to talk about this human together. So we're going to bring him up. I got it ready to go here. So today's creative spot, and Brian Inge, every single day on the show, we like to take somebody up on LinkedIn, and we're expanding our reach here and find something that they're doing and take the big light and shine it on them and celebrate them. And then we create content and take that human being and elevate them and say, hey, this human's doing great work. That's what we love to do here on the show, love celebrating human beings. So today, the Creator Spotlight, Mornings in the Lab on Tuesday, August 20th. Johnny Anderson, check this out. Today's Creator Spotlight is Darian Parker. Yeah, Darian is a 2023 IDEA Personal Trainer of the Year, PhD, owner of Epic Leisure Management, owner of Parker Personal Training, adjunct faculty, host of Dr. D's Social Network podcast, YouTuber. Marty Fit, Christopher Martin, you said we got to nominate this dude. We got to nominate Darian. We got to bring him on stage and celebrate him. Marty, talk about Darian Parker and why we are celebrating Darian Parker in today's Creator Spotlight.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Darian was on my podcast about a year ago, and we had a great convo. He's a fan of my content, so we definitely on the same page as far as that. He's very accomplished, very passionate about fitness, and he has some other interests as well. So just a jack of all trades, man. He does a little bit of everything, And like I said, man, just super brilliant. And I think he'd be great for the show as well.
Yeah, we're going to have Darian on the show here. What I loved about him, Marty, when you introduced me to him, I read his about, and he is drinking our Kool-Aid. I
Absolutely.
believe that in life, you have to have fun, but also be productive, John Anderson. Right? So as you're battling bears, he's like, yeah, have some fun, but you got to be productive doing it. Right? I've dedicated my professional fitness career to helping others. Brian talked about servicing others. Darian talks about I've dedicated my professional fitness career to helping others in the profession grow not only as professionals, and I love this, but as overall human beings. I believe, and here's what I really leaned into, Marty. I believe that love helps to grow people professionally. Hallelujah. You know, we are a show for men, and we lean into love. We lead with love here in the lab. I'm telling you that right now. Whenever possible, and I love this too, man, whenever possible, I hug, I high five, and I encourage, praise my friends and family and colleagues, because it's important to let people know that you care. That's what I'm all about. Marty, this dude belongs in the lab with us, man. Like, that's exceptional. I love serving people in the fitness industry. Brian, you talked about it as well, and beyond. However, I'm not defined by fitness, as I have many passions. But I'm so glad that this is the industry that I'm in. I'm happy to chat and network with those that connect with me on LinkedIn. I love meeting new people that I can help out. Let me help you if I can. Thanks for your time. And as I dug into Darian's profile, it's without a doubt, this guy might shine a light on people even more than we do, Marty. He's such a fan of human beings, and I can tell that he leads with love. He's all about encouragement and empowerment. And all you have to do is look at his posts. He's constantly celebrating humans. He's like, yeah, I had this guy. Look what he did. I had this girl. Look what she did. And he's celebrating these folks and how they've moved forward in life. And I'm a big fan of that. Marty Fit. How do we wrap up with celebrating Darian Parker as our creator spotlight today? But what are some things you want to say about Darian before we continue the show?
Hey, Darian, keep doing your thing, man. And like I said, I hope you can join the show and come back on my show as well. But no, you definitely inspire me as a younger guy in fitness to do more. And my passion is fitness, but I love to help people, and I love just being around people as well. So you definitely inspire me. Keep doing your thing.
There you go. So Darian Parker, we celebrate you today. The Creator Spotlight, Mornings in the Lab, over on LinkedIn here, X, YouTube. We shine that light on people and make sure that the world gets to know the great work that we're doing. And Darian, you officially have an invite here to the lab to pay it forward and celebrate somebody you think is doing exceptional work on the platform, to celebrate them. So Darian, we're going to surprise you today with this content. If you're tuning in today, that's awesome. If not, you're going to be notified later today that, hey, we celebrated you here today in the lab. So Darian Parker, congratulations. We've named you today's Creator Spotlight here on Mornings in the Lab. So, all right. So we're moving into the second hour of the show. If you're tuning into our show right now, Mornings in the Lab with Keith C. Marty Fit, John Anderson, our guest Brian Inge. I invite you to subscribe to the channel Mornings in the Lab, like it, comment it, share it with our friends. We are now going to take the next 10-15 minutes to take the light and move it over to Marty and Brian. Brian's going to take over the hosting duties here, and he's going to put Marty on the spot and have some questions for him. But before we do that, Johnny Anderson, you got a big day ahead of you, pal. What do you got going on today, buddy?
I do. I got some business I'm going to handle, and I have some really dear friends up here. I do. I got some business I'm going to handle, and I have some just having a really dear friends up here visiting.
Nice.
Relationships around me. So,
nice. So we're gonna part ways with Johnny. He's gonna go get on with his day over there, and he'll be back tomorrow morning with us. Obviously, John, Marty, and Keith are here every single day. So John's gonna get off with his day over there in California, over in Lake Tahoe. I'm gonna slip aside here, refresh my coffee, and I'm going to pivot and give the microphone producer Flynn over to Brian and Marty. And I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to getting to know C. Marty Fit through the lens of Brian Inge. Brian, you ready to rock and roll, brother?
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
All right, let's do it, guys. Marty, you're up, pal. I'm gonna move myself off stage. I'm gonna move Johnny off stage, and we're gonna let you guys shine. And we'll be back in about 10, 12 minutes to wrap up the chat around the Side Hustle Entrepreneur's Guide and talk about the contrarian side. So, Johnny, if you want to hang around, more than welcome to. If not, we'll talk to you a little later. I'm gonna hang out, grab a coffee, and listen to these guys talk. Marty, Johnny, you guys are up.
Marty, Brian.
Yeah, that's it. Marty Bryan.
Nah, so Chris, one thing I always wanted to know, well, a ton of things when we'll get into it, man. But you've done a lot of great things. I'm definitely proud of your growth, continued growth, and success. But why you be going so hard on the big backs?
Well, this is how I look at it, man. I look at what helped me and what changed my life. And that was always the direct message. It was never sugar-coated. And anytime I changed or leveled up or matured, I got the real info. So even in college, my coaches, they kept it real with me. You've met my mom.
Not all of them, some of them.
Yeah, you're right. But you met my mom. She's kept it real with me. And that's just, any other mentor, even like, hanging around Jim Jackson and stuff. People keep it real with me, and that's how I get better. And I truly believe that's the best way to change. So I kind of send that message to my clients. Yeah, that's it.
I wish you would have leaned in there early on, because there was some people. I'm like, come on, dog, you got to say something. They. All right, won't get in that. But no.
Well, I do it now, so they see it now.
No, and I'm here for it. Like I'm here. I'm here for it. But no, when you first got started, well, I wanted to ask you, I see all the stuff you're doing now, and I know your journey, like when you started out, at the first Gold's Gym, and then your clientele grew, and then you went out to Los Angeles for a while, then you came back, and it was like you never missed a beat. You actually came back better, and then from there, I moved away, but of course I'm still following you, I'm still seeing what you're doing, and it's like, dang, Chris just keeps getting better. He's doing podcasts now, he's doing interviews, he's doing this, the content is growing, he's still training. So like, what has been a key to your success, especially being like someone who has had challenges where they had to kind of no pun intended, shout out to Blizzy, but you had to pivot and make change?
Yeah, I mean, I got to credit that to staying in shape. That not only did stuff for my mental clarity, but it held me accountable. And, as you continue to stay in shape, you can reach new levels. You can always get stronger. You can always improve your cardio. You can always eat cleaner. You can always cut out sugar, cut out alcohol, lower the carbs. There's always something you can do. So I kind of transferred that to my real life. And there's always something I could get better at. And so I'm like, man, and we talk about passion. I don't want to just train in the gym forever. I'm not trying to be training at goals forever. So I got to make the steps to level up, to get up out of here. So I got to credit that to honestly staying in shape. That's actually made me a better man and made me a better human.
No, absolutely. Okay. No, and that makes sense. And I'm the same way. When things are going well, like I got to work out. When things aren't going well, I got to work out. Like that's kind of like the basis of who I am right now. Is like my physical fitness, and also just like eating the right way. And I'm getting a little older now, so like all of that stuff really matters. I look at some of my friends who are now big backs, and I am not a big back. So
hey, but hold up though. I saw you fall off for a second.
No, I'm back, bro. I got the 6 pack.
No, I know you. Oh, you back now? Yeah, but I was gonna say,
I'm 175, bro. I'm at playing weight. I'm dunking and everything.
I was gonna say, talk about that first workout with Marty Fit that got you on track.
All right, so and I was gonna get there, man. So like I'm a slight guy. At my heaviest throughout my college in the early 20s, I was no heavier than 190. So I knew a change was in order when I was coaching at Bishop Magner at the time, and I'm used to wearing like medium work shirts because I'm a slim guy. I like to be slim fit. You know what I'm saying? Look good. You know what I'm saying? And then like I just realized every morning like I'm like trying to get it on, and the shirt is looking like small, and I'm like, hold on. So then I get on the scale, and that thing said 215. I was like, nah, man. Nah, and for some people that's not large, but for me, keep in mind, I was 215 then, I'm 175 now.
Right.
So I was like, nah, I got to do better. But even when I got with you, man, like I attribute a lot of my success with fitness and being accountable was like, you always held me accountable. Like I was, I wasn't the greatest, the best client. Like I'm always trying to cheat and get out of the workout.
Oh yeah, I know.
And I'm like, bro, I'm glad this. And what I'm saying? I wasn't eating the best, and I had some bad habits, but I've been able to clean all that up. But I attribute it like to you always being on my case, always, showing like that you care, like now you can be better, even talking to me, like even though you're younger than me, you showed a level of maturity and expertise that I was like, all right, I gotta listen. And just the environment we had there with like you and Dave and Jaren and Big Kevin and all them, it was like a family. And I thoroughly look forward to being there and working out with you guys and learning from you guys. And now that I'm pretty much on my own, I still do the same, not the same, but like I do variation, but the same regimens to you. Chest day, chest and back, biceps, legs, cardio Wednesdays, and then I just kind of add on to it and do my own thing. But and like you definitely were definitely something. You were a part of my life that was very instrumental, and I of course I was your first client and stuff like that, but you being there to help me get me through like a fitness journey and some personal things. When at the time people was popping up in the gym, it was. You know what I'm saying?
It was crazy, bro.
It was crazy for the kid. It was crazy for the kid, but that always kept me grounded. And I just like to say, outside of just the physical fitness, it was somewhere where I look forward to going every day and just being around.
Yep. No, absolutely, bro. I appreciate that too, because a lot of people, my message gets misconstrued and people think I'm spreading hate. That's what I was told this morning when I woke up to my comment section, that I'm spreading hate, which is crazy. But no, I'm glad
people just soft, bro. People they really are. They're averse to criticism and feedback to what they really need to get better at. And I'm like that too. I don't always necessarily like to hear the bad about me and things like that. But some people like, come on, man, like you need to do better. And if like you're not gonna do it yourself, if somebody who cares about you is telling you to do better, then you probably need to do better. And if you get offended by something you see on Instagram, then that's definitely a reason for you to like, all right, I need to look at myself, because if I'm getting offended by someone that I don't even know, I might
and taking time out to comment on it.
Yeah, bro. Come on, man. Like, stop it.
No, absolutely.
People need to do better. People need to do better.
You got any more questions? Because I'm sure Keith is going to come in here soon. So you got any more questions before we wrap up?
Couple more, man. So what's next for C Marty?
Man, I'm really leaning into the content as you know. Trying to maybe get some events, like a live podcast, selling clothing with / mentorship. That's really what I'm looking into right now. Maybe getting some sponsors for the show.
Okay.
But that's it. I'm trying to transition all my training to online as well. And I've been investing a lot more in the clothing. I got I'm going to an event in a couple weeks. I'll be selling clothing there. Make some content there as well. Probably some podcast type stuff. I'm trying to work it out now. So just getting to that next level from more of a fitness brand / network opposed to a personal trainer. But I'm still going to be a trainer. That makes sense.
No, absolutely. I mean, of course, keep the main thing, but you grow on it and you find different avenues and verticals, and that's kind of like where I'm at now. I mean, I've been told. I mean, I post a lot, but I don't create a lot of content. And someone who's very instrumental in my life and who's very successful, like, bro, you got to create content. You do too much stuff to just not really be creating content, and you could help people with your content. So I totally agree that I need to dive into that as well, and I'm glad to see you're doing it. You're doing a great job at it too. I mean, absolutely great job. Like I love, like, I know when C Marty got the shades on, it's must see TV. I look forward to that.
I keep some shades with me, man.
No,
I keep some shades around all the time, man.
Oh man, I was not ready for that.
You and me both.
Where your shades at, Keith?
I know my shades aren't here right now. I got to get some
shades.
Man. I know. Hey, Brian, I love Marty in shades, man. He's, when the shades come out, I know the edge comes out, Brian.
Yeah, I mean, he go from C Marty to Tupac.
That's exactly it.
It's pretty accurate.
That's exactly. He instantly goes from Christopher Martin to C Marty Fit with the sunglasses.
Absolutely.
Hey Brian, before we get into wrap up our conversation around, is the side hustle culture overrated? Last question for Marty Fit from Brian Inge.
The same question you just asked. Is the side hustle, I guess, experience, is it overrated?
I don't think so. I think the side hustle, it gives people more of a purpose and it guides them in the right direction. But it's not for everybody. But for the people looking to level up and the people looking to grow, I think that's the answer right there.
And I would agree with that, and not even just off of a side hustle to make additional revenue or things like that, but just to kind of give you something to dive into to broaden your horizons and your brain power, things like that. So I think it's very important to do more than one thing. Whether you want to make money off it or you want to serve others or whatever it is, you got to do more than one thing. And that's the conversation that I have with a ton of people now. Just do something. You can't just sit back and wait for the world to happen to you. You got to attack the world.
Yeah. So let me throw a question to both you boys then. Marty and Brian, what's the risk of burnout from juggling too many responsibilities?
Very high.
I'm going to take myself out of the equation. So I'm going to throw it to Marty and Brian. But Brian, you first, pal. Like, you've got a lot of things going on. You check in with yourself throughout the day. Talk about the risk of burnout and going, I don't know, it's just too much. Like, talk about that, Brian.
No, it happens. And I need to do a better job of that. Like, I just came off of a stretch over the last 4 or 5 months where it's the most events and most places I've ever been as far as my business. And I definitely... I'm just coming out of it. I definitely was burnt out. I probably still am, but it happens. I'm trying to, and just me being transparent here, hopefully I can help somebody. I'm trying to find ways to prevent burnout. And some of the ways that some of the safeguards and boundaries that I had put in place in the past, which worked, don't necessarily work when you enter a next phase of your life, right? So, that it's an ongoing thing, but burnout happens. What I try to do when I see myself getting burnt out, which I don't always do a good job of, is just disconnecting. I'll just kind of just get away from things if possible. I'm at a time now where things are a little bit slower for me, so I plan to kind of spend more time with family, with my wife, with my mom, with my friends, do more things that are fun and more leisure, instead of kind of always being on the go.
Mm-hmm. Marty, what do you think about that? The risk of burnout and trying to juggle too much, and maybe it's just like, you know what, I got to focus on one thing.
Yeah, I think burnout is definitely a possibility, but I look at burnout as two sides to the coin. So you have the side of burnout where you got Brian executing at a high level. He's trying to take on too much, and he just needs to take a step back. That's one side of burnout. But then you got the other side of burnout where you might not really be burnt out. You might just not be executing, or you could be lazy, and you might not know there's another level that you can tap into. So, like I said, burnout is a possibility, but you want to be on the Brian side of burnout and not on the other side.
And you made a good point. And sorry, I didn't want to interject you, but like it's a fine line to cross from being burnt out or being, I need to push myself to that next level. It's kind of like you're trying to figure out, like, am I burning out or am I really fighting through a wall right now? So.
Oh, Brian, I could not concur enough with you there. Because Marty, you and I've talked enough times about the Cobries, the LeBrons of the world, like the David Goggins of the world. If you want to go, you're gonna burn out, but you got to figure out how to push past the burnout. Like, if you want to change the world in business, or if you want to change the world in sport, you have to move mountains, and you're gonna feel like you're burning out when in reality you're probably just getting started.
Yeah.
Right. So I sometimes think that people attribute themselves to burning out, almost maybe considering themselves being too soft. Oh, yeah, a little controversial there, but now you got to fucking go. Pardon my language, producer Flynn, but sometimes we just got to go and we got to push ourselves through the burnout, because if you really want to change the world, it's not going to be easy. If you want to be LeBron or Kobe, it's not going to be easy. Right. And you're going to battle what you feel is burnout. No, it's not burnout. No, not at all. And that, I think, is what too many guys who are listening right now just subscribe to. I'm burning out. I'm going to go sit on the couch and have some Doritos. No, you're just getting started, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Brian, lean into that comment on whether it is burnout or whether you got to push the metal down on you put the foot to the metal a little further. For example, Marty's there training, and you're like, "Hey, Marty, you got to get better as a free thrower. You got to get better. You got to get better. I need to see 200 more throws." Brian, I'm tired, man. I'm burning out. Do you want to change the world or not?
And that's kind of, it's funny you say that, and that's kind of like the conversation I have with myself. Like do you want to change the world, or do you want to be remembered, or do you just want to be somebody who had a run for a few years and it's somebody else's time, right? So it's like having that I have that internal battle with myself all the time, and I often get into it with like my wife. She's like, why are you going so hard? You're going so hard. You're pushing yourself, you're killing yourself. I'm like, well, what won't kill me won't get me stronger, and who knows what's on that other side of this wall right now? Because there's been many times I've been like, I want to quit. No, I'm not going to quit. And just when I was about to, and I kept going, something good happens. So it's like, okay, you keep going, and good things will happen. But burnout is definitely a real thing. Like if you're once you have that first initial breakthrough, then you'll understand, okay, that's not burnout. So when you really feel burnout, you'll understand like, all right, I'm burnt out.
Yes. That's why I'm a big fan, Brian, of endurance type athletics. Obviously I like traditional like sports and basketball and hockey and football, but there's something about endurance athletics and business that really resonates with me because it forces you to consider what burnout really is or isn't.
Yep.
Can I get the extra mile on the run? Can I push the extra weight? Can I push the extra, kilometer on the bike? Right? Because when I feel like I'm done, am I really done? Or is that just my mind telling me that I'm done?
Exactly.
Right. And I think that's the balance that we often have. What's up, Anam? Good to see you here in the morning show here. Brian, we have Anam here who joins us every single day. He's an awesome human being who likes to get after it every single day. So Anam, welcome to the lab here this morning. Glad to have you in on the show. We're talking the Side Hustle Entrepreneur's Guide to Success. One last question for Brian, Inge, and C. Marty Fit, frankly. Is the side hustle culture creating unrealistic expectations for entrepreneurs? Inge, you first.
I don't think the side hustle culture is creating unrealistic expectations. I think social media is.
Oh,
because the side hustle culture is just about finding something you love or finding something and creating another revenue stream off of it, or creating a path to do something you're passionate about. What we do as a society that we need to stop doing is we compare ourselves to what others are doing, or what we perceive others to be doing. Just because someone is posting that, oh, they're on a G5 jet and they say they've got this business, we're like, wow, why am I not there? And it kind of becomes demoralizing, and some people will be like, you know what, why even keep going? I'll just stop. So I think social media plays a big part of that, which is why I'm someone, I'll take sabbaticals from social media. I'll just not be on Instagram or Twitter, Facebook, whatever, for maybe 3 or 4 weeks at a time. And even sometimes I'll have, even if I'm still on social media, I'll just post, then I'll delete the app and just let it do what it needs to do. Because of course I need to post for certain things when I have events and programming, stuff like that. But I'll just post, delete the app, and keep my mental sanity, because I'm a victim as well. Like I'll be looking at others like, dang, like I work so hard. Why is this not happening for me? Even though I'm, successful myself. So just the side hustle culture, I think is great. I think it's very beneficial, especially in this time in America with inflation is very, very high. But I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I definitely think social media plays a part in people's, unhappiness.
That's some great advice there, Brian. What about you, Marty? Is the side hustle culture creating unrealistic expectations for entrepreneurs?
I don't think so. I was actually going to say the same thing as Brian. I believe it's social media. I feel like when people start their side hustle, they know maybe at the beginning, they might be hesitant because they won't get certain results, right? You're not going to hit the ground running. More than likely, you're going to have to put some work in. You're going to have to put some grind in. And I think people are cool with that when they accept that they want to do a side hustle. But the thing about social media, you see all these guys with the Lambos and, the rented houses. You doing content at an Airbnb saying it's your house. And then you got the guys with the fake followers. I mean, I don't want to say names, but I mean, I have people come to my page talking trash, and I go to your page and you got the same engagement as me. but you got 500,000 followers, and we got the same amount of comments and likes. So, yeah, exactly. And if I weren't confident in what I do and what I bring to the table, I would look at that and get discouraged and be like, dang, I'm wasting my time trying to build this on the side and build this on the side. But I feel like it's social media, and I feel like that example I provided, that ruins a lot of people when it comes to doing the side hustle or building something new.
Yeah. We're hanging out with Brian Inge, see Marty Fit here. We're talking side hustle entrepreneur guide to success, closing off our question, which is the side hustle culture creating unrealistic expectations for entrepreneurs? The overwhelming consensus is no, it's actually social media killing us. And you know what, producer Flynn? Here's what I'm thinking. Old Uncle Keith here has a little bit of experience in social media. Hey, Marty?
Something like that.
Maybe something like that. I'm thinking that maybe we can have some segments on the show where I can talk about all the fakeness on social media, Marty.
I think you should, because you keep sprinkling it in there when we meet offline.
Maybe we can talk about all the fake followers and all the FOMO that's killing everybody. So Brian, I left social 8 years ago and became a ghost. So when I come back to the world, people are like, hey, so you sold your company for a lot of money. How come you're nobody on social? Oh, I'll tell you why. Because it fucked with my head for a while, so I left it. So now I'm trying to come back to the world and have this social proof. And then I look around at all these fakes out there, as Marty says. All these fake accounts with fake followers and creating fake FOMO for all of us. Nation, there's more fake out there than you believe. How do I know? I used to be in the business. We'll talk about it from time to time. All right, so listen. Mornings in the Lab, Keith Bilous, C. Marty Fit, and the incomparable bear-fighting John Anderson, who's out in the mountains of Lake Tahoe right now, hanging out with family and friends. And of course, Brian Inge, who respectfully has to head to a meeting here shortly. So we're going to wrap up and end the show here. Brian, dude, I always say this, man. Guests of the lab now become friends of the lab. You got to come back, man. I've enjoyed the conversation. I've enjoyed hanging out with you, even though, and Marty, I haven't thrown him under the bus any jokes yet, so I got to start now. But even though he couldn't figure out the old computer thing at the beginning, we got iPads and iPhones and Marty, exactly. So I figured I'd give Brian about 90 minutes before we threw him under the bus here, because Brian, that's how, as Marty's taught me, that's how we show love, right? We just throw each other under the bus along the way here. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I deserve that. I deserve that.
So Brian, you come back and hang out with us again, buddy. And I really enjoyed your conversation with Marty, and I'd love to have you back and have you on as a regular on the show, pal.
No, absolutely. I would love it. Anytime you guys would want me, I'll be there. I enjoyed the conversation. Consider yourselves family to me, and I'm a huge fan. I'll be tuned in every morning.
Awesome. That's awesome. Marty, final word to you for our friend Brian, buddy.
Yeah. Hey, Brian, appreciate you coming on and sharing your story. We need more stories like that, and super proud of you, and keep doing your thing.
I appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you.
Agreed. So Brian, we're going to put you up in the green room. Marty and I are going to say goodbye to the nation. And if you're still there in a minute, we'll come walk you out. Okay.
All right.
Hang tight, pal. Hang tight, hang tight, hang tight. We're going to put Brian there. Jimmy, you can take him off on the horizontal. Marty, dude, you've been talking about Brian since I met you. Yep. You've been talking about how awesome he's been in your life. You've been talking about how much he's been a pivotal figure in your life. And it's clear why. I got to spend 90 minutes with the guy, and a huge fan, and would love to have him back often, and would love to see more conversations with you two. And thank you for introducing me to him, man. I really appreciate that. And I'm really grateful that we got a chance to introduce Brian to our audience as well.
Oh yeah, of course, man. He's a great guy, and it will be a good addition if we bring him back on the show again, of course.
Absolutely. Yeah. Hey, listen, if we got to trade on Anderson every now and then, we can trade on Anderson for Inge.
Oh, Anderson might be fighting bears or something,
Well, and if Inge is going to drop sound bites, like what did he say? I'd rather pay attention to the game instead of the sidelines or something like that. Dude, that's some soundbite quality stuff there.
Oh yeah, good stuff.
That's like soundbite for quality stuff there. All right, so Marty, let's get out of here, pal. What do you got on the agenda today, bud?
I got a meeting, and then I'm gonna hit the gym for leg day, and I got some clients after that, and then I'm done for the day.
I got legs day today, so I'm going to go crush some legs and get after it, and we'll come knock on your door throughout the day today. Okay, buddy?
Sounds good.
All right, Nation, I'm going to put Marty off stage here. I'm going to say goodbye to you guys, Business Athlete Nation, LinkedIn Nation, everybody out there in the lab. We had a good time, good conversation. The Side Hustles Entrepreneur Guide to Success. Mornings in the Lab. Myself, Keith Bilous, C. Marty Fit, John Anderson, and producer Flynn. We come here every single day, Monday to Friday, 8 o'clock Eastern time. Men, we help you guys get your ass out of bed. Men, we help you guys get yourself moving. Men, we help you guys achieve those biggest, most hairy, audacious goals in your life. And men, we help be accountable to them. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one.